ancient Islam. Ancient Islam is different from modern Islam. The wording is spelled different and everything. And we understand just the changing of a letter can cause a different definition. I-S-L-A-M as opposed to I-S-L-A-U-M, Islam. These things you must be able to explain to people that come through those doors. They're under the impression that all you guys are doing is saying the same thing that the Muslim brothers over here are saying. And we have to explain to them that ours is an altogether different world. Islam is different from Islam. We are not affiliated, or do we associate with any of the groups, organizations, movements, or anything else that are existing today. Ours is an altogether different world. Ancient Islam. Bisim Leuli Mihiru Amin Roch, in the name of the Most High God. Since the ancient Islamic culture and civilization failed at the hands of the sons of God, marrying the daughters of men, and the romancers of the land of Ham, misleading the people into forgetting the names of their own gods, who were their benefactors, and the rovers of the desert, and the sheepherder invasion, and the converted eyes of those Bedouin Arabs. The doctrines of Isis, El, and Amun faded out of the people's conscience. And there is where ancient Islam was veiled. That is, it was hid. Now their kinsman Ra, who is the god of time, has on his return to earth, under the name of Paul Nathaniel Johnson, peace be upon him, say, I am the vicar of Ra, or representative of Ra, claims declared as a fact to be the successor, that is the owner, and vice-regent, that is in the place of the regular ruler of the entire Hamite pantheon, image of the mind. And because of this, Fahami is the Holy Spirit declared sacred by religious use and authority. Of Ra, the glorified, that is made in the image of man, a picture in the mind, an idea. The second coming of Christ, or Ra, has come to pass. Ham, the father of Cush, and Mizram, and Futah, and Canaan, all of which are now combined into the one name, Fahami. Their holiness, power, and strength remains, and I, Ra, have cleared them of all false charges. Charges used to deceive, lies on our noble ancestors who graced, that is, made beautiful, the land of Ham. Ra, the god of time, Amun-Ra, the god of truth, under the name Fahami, is here again to give back to the Hamite race, the Jaizis, the sons and daughters of God, their culture, their ethics, their arts, their science, and their civilization, such as of now a dead one. can be patched up from our pre-slavery status. Unity of Purpose, chapter 4, page 13. Ancient Islam uncovered, unhid, or unveiled to the sons and daughters of the Most High God, Lelachirah, chapter 5, page 18. Beauty, to become daughters of God again, follow instructions of Ra. The song of Amun-Ra, when sung, is a true song, agreeing with facts and not false, but being real, genuine, and free from deceit, sincere. And agreeing with the song with the standard of right, proper, correct, exact, and accurate is a true voice, which is a representation of the song's name, which will resurrect those unsung heroes from the dead. Steady in direction, force, will, determination, and unchanging, and become real by the name of Amun-Ra.
Don't do it.
So your God is Amun-Ra, Ra the ascendant, the sundial Ra, Ra the resplendent, who will fill again and provide a new supply if we remember that his spirit is always with us of what we need. An interpretation by the adept. We resurrect the dead of their spirits by merely talking to them or about them, and invocation, which is an act of calling upon the names of our gods sincerely in prayer, which is appealing for help or protection, being real or sincere. Certain words and certain sounds attract certain kinds of spirits. This song of Amun-Ra is indeed an incantation, which the adept sheikh was taught certain sounds to be chanted through invocation from a goddess who was attracted to the words of the song, Fahamiwa. The so-called Arab. The pure Arab of ancient times were a black tribe of Hamites whose ruler was Makeda, a genie, and her government was located 60 miles from Canaan, who were the original Kenites. The Jews called the Canaanite tribe, under the leadership of Makeda, they seem to have conquered all the Phoenicians except the citadel of Tyre, which was on the isle or island and inaccessible to them. According to genealogy, all Bedouin tribes on the southeast of this mountain chain were descendants of Joktan, who is now Japan. This information can be found in the Bible, Genesis chapter 11, verse 26 through 30. While those on the northwest were descendants of Peleg. This information can be found in Genesis chapter 11, verse 14 through 27. If the Hebrew is derived from Iba as claimed, then all Bedouin tribes are Hebrews. These Hebrews are descendants, sons of Nimrod, of Babil, and Babil means doors to El or Allah. Since Muhammad, 640 AD, the Arabs are mixed colored people, have crossed the Red Sea, or the river leading from Ethiopia, where the red bark of trees gave a reddish color to the water as it flowed through where the Jews were living out of Egypt. And that word means mister. Well, the Arabs, or colored people, went into Abyssinia, or Nard, where they found a mixed population composed of the descendants of the mulattoes, called whites, immigrants from ancient Pund, who were the original Arabs of that day, who had been conquered and forced to fuse with the sheep herders, a wave of brown blacks coming forth from Egypt, Ham, into the mixed population. The Arabs conquered and fused again and produced the present Mongolian, brown, white, and black population of Ethiopia, called Abyssinia. This new mixture has gradually extended into Central Africa, Ham, tinging the complexion of its chocolate-colored Negroes, Hamites, to a lighter shade, and harassing these lands with slave raids as far as Stanley Falls, Tipoteh, being in the vanguard of this movement. I wanted to read to you also some of the things that were given to me. I'm a hoarder of everything people give me. I'm a hoarder of it. Every time they give me something, I keep it. I keep it, and I think it was given to me for the very express purpose of what I'm going to do today. And that is bring it forth that you might see what was being said at a certain time. This book is something like a diary, something like a handwritten diary. This particular section that we're going to start out with started back in 1980. It was before then. I have other lessons or other chapters that it spoke of, 1979, and I happened to see a sheet with Brother Cantu Bay's name on it, 1981. So you've been around a long time too, my God. 1989, we go back even further than that. April 30th, 1980. The supreme sacrifice of Yusuf, called Jesus, the Christ, was the supreme sacrifice for all Christian nations, as Amun-Ra was a sacrifice to the Hamites. April 20th, 1980. Take a look at the zodiac of the Babylonians, where the perfection of astronomy was made complete, revealing the ancient zodiac. The Rasul said only animals that could be trained have a human soul. Thought is greater than imagination, because imagination is nothing but daydreaming. An ideal in itself is incomplete because no thought has been given to it. Ideal, imagination, thought, reality. Every emblem is but a symbol of the soul. Fahami Gospel, page 7. How great is the wisdom in Islam. Yes, how great it is to understand how to use knowledge, the culture, and the schools of understanding. May the 10th, 1980. The Ethiopians was men of fame. We we tell of them in Allah's name, and that is all that was ever said or done in honor of them. When one prays to God, he prays to himself. April 1979. March, April, May, and June is our strongest hope. As of now, your chief, these angels are on the move. No one has the authority to direct the speaker in his discourse, but the supreme authority. All ruminations must be investigated by the high authority only. March the 21st till April the 19th. March, April 20th. Taurus begins as the Tau or Torah. Torah means a deck of cards, a gamble, the golden calf, earth. Some of these verses will not make any sense until you get the full picture of what is being said, because things are being said randomly. But if we go back to our Fahami Gospel, we'll find that some of these things are explanation to things that are in the Fahami Gospel. March the 25th, 1979. The admission to group membership. Everything works by a law, which is a rule of guidance. We walk by a rule, we eat by a rule, think by a rule, we sleep by a rule, we come back to life by a rule of 9 hours after being dead, 8 or 9 hours. Religion is a weak companion in its function in human life. The gospel says culture is religion and religion is culture. Then religion is but the history of a people. Can we then follow and be cultured in mind without religion? It teaches again that culture means to believe in our own gods, saints, saviors, prophets. It gives a picture of a lotus plant. And it says the lotus plant symbolizes the eclipse of the sun and moon begetting children, vegetation without the agency of sex. Not only that, there were pictures drawn on the board. I'm not too good an artist, but I tried to duplicate some of the pictures that were drawn on the board. And I put them in my book also. So I will make this book available so you can see this book for yourself. Wednesday, June 1979. Nature of religion, or the reality of man's natural character or quality. There was in ancient Rome a man named Hospitalius, who was the first man in Europe to give first aid to wounded soldiers at battle, from which comes the word hospital, or hospitality, and the word means friendly, generous, reception, and treatment of guests or strangers. See the word host. I think that will make things of that sort clear, don't you think? A legion is a group of people that then religion means to change from one group into another one. See group. I think this will make clear that word, since the Gospel of Fahami says it is a state of mind. Going to the root of a tree explains how it increases its intentions as a tree. Take notice, Wednesdays is not a day of teaching anything, but a day set aside for fasting and praying for wisdom and how to use it. The Rasul. June 1979. The sun is the head of all life, light, and energy. Therefore, the sun is you, yourselves, male and female, sons of the sun, daughters of the sun, or daughters of the moon, and the name man was many times used for God. Why? Because the mind of man is supreme, because he is a supreme commander, highest in degree, greatest, utmost. He has a supreme disgust, highest in quality, supreme courage. Last, he is the supreme moment. He is to make a supreme sacrifice. He is the chief paramount. God is man, and man is God. And they both are partners. What is man's trouble today? Question. The feminine control temperament. June the 21st. Since the ancient gods of the two Americas are in revival and becoming conscious again, then the ancient gods of the Hamites are yet intact and have the ability to do the right things, and is yet skilled in dealing with people or handling difficult situations that they have sense of feeling. Gods and goddesses. May the 14th. The black man's rights are those from his noble, illustrious ancestors who graced the land of Ham, that is, made it holy or sacred. Your only rights. What is race? What is a race? Answer. It is a continuation of the descent from a common parent or stock. Children are our descents from we as their common parents or stock. Slaves are known as stocks of their owners because of the slave owners' religion and educational system or control. They owned the black people of this country as their personal stock. We as an American black forum is simply missing the mark. Why? Die means day. Death means date. If we have forgotten this, a true prayer when invoked moves the angels of the air. There is an angel and a number attached to each and every soul. Yes, our judgment day is the day, hour, minute, second, we die. December 1979. And the Rasul said the well-dressed Negro, the raggedy Negro, the rich Negro, and the poor Negro, the learned Negro, and the unlearned Negro are one and the same thing. This statement is to be figured out by whoever can do it. The secret of the pyramid of Sufi and the mummies will be a secret or hidden knowledge for a long time to come. The Negro's worst enemies are themselves. December 1979. Television is a televised vision of the minds of people. It tells just what people like best and what some like that is worse. Can you draw a straight line? Try to do so. Sufi is the only man that could draw a straight line, whether it was triangle, vertical, rectangular, or a circle. This is why he was the world's first master mason. And that is why time and the elements have failed to destroy it. A friend in need is a friend indeed. April 1979. Since the gods are listening at a certain hour, consider this fact and be on time. 12 o'clock after this hour has passed, they are gone. Let us notice this taking over the air was what was spoken over the air at 1:25 and by a Negro concerning the unhappiness of people Sunday morning was spoken as if the cause can be solved by going to celebrate the coming of spring and summer as Easter, history repeating itself as if Christ is the answer. After 2,000 years is nothing but the history repeating itself over and over again. When we black people learn that things done over and over after hundreds of years, then we'll understand that it is not anything new under the sun, but history repeating itself for the better of a people or worse, for they have no God of their own. Prophecy repeats itself every 2,000 years as a warning to a godless people to reform for the next 200 or 2,000 years for the better things from a prophet of their own to lead them. Akhenaten wrote 42 commandments, history. Moses copied 10 of them, which the Jews was guilty of violating, fornication. Your next step into spiritualism will be released in July. This is a notice to all priestesses who can qualify. The Ramadan, or the fasting, and old folks' day. The sun is at its best today. A grown giant man, the hottest day of the year. Examine the sun's stretch today for proof of its power. June the 21st, 1979. And it gives a picture of a sun called Islaum. A continuation of wisdom. To be wise means to guide and direct and to instruct, show and inform, advise. To be wise means to beguile, lure, and persuade. To be wise means to make a thing known through explanation. It also means to work out one's way. To be wise means invoke in favor or against anyone. To invoke means to implicate as to one's happiness, to wish one happiness. Business is before pleasure because business is human behavior. This business is more than handing out a handbill, but following up this action. You brothers tired?
No.
No. The word Cain means kind. Klein. Klein was the king of the Canaanite people. Abel means meadows. Cain slaying Abel means the Abels are Hebrews stealing the Canaanites' cattle. Abel's wife told Abel to curse God and die. He said, of all my appointed times, I will wait till my change come. Abel was Job, a cattle thief. He was a black boy with curly hair and was supposed to have been the world's first murderer. The nature of the black man is his give and take. That is his natural disposition, is the psychology he uses to look on the inside of each other. Import means special quality. Control of Europeans' nature. Try seeing one as he or she is, present. Also by using our mental powers. Every description of the Negro is of the white man. Everything he tells you about yourself is his description, describing you. And this description that he is using to describe you is not beneficial to you at all. It does not raise you. If anything, it tears you down. We are here to try to revert some of that information. The Rasul, peace be upon him, his job, being a prophet, was to come and tell the nation some of the fallacies that were going on in and around, some of the things that they held and they kept as being truthful, exposing them. He used the terminology veiled. That is, they were hidden. Some minds are like concrete, thoroughly mixed and permanently set. Why are we here? How is television affecting us? On this day, we are to have vegetation, Mirhati, ancient Kim, me and my garden, Venus and Hathor, Rome, mind and memory. Ham, like hog, means praised. Alhamdu means deep praised. It rains under the third quarter. Man is the holy ground. Furnish the strength of mind, justice and judgment. Rasul, Allah, who is he? He is the word of life and the word of truth. Which is the greatest, thought or imagination? Bombard your minds for understanding our true place in life as of now. Let us reread the gospel, the King James gospel, the Quran, the Hebrew gospel, in search of our true understanding of a God of our own, like Homer searched the Egyptian Book of the Dead, page 98. Let this be your inspiration class for today, the Minister of Sight. A woman is a man's protection, whether he believes it or not. The rich Negro, the well-dressed Negro, the poor Negro, the ignorant Negro are all one and the same. Why? You tell me, not me. But the Fahami Rasul has spoken these words. May the 29th, the Rasul's Deliverance Day. Training of the mind. Look and take notice, then make notes through experimentation among our black Americans, men, women, and child. They are abnormal and needs training into consciousness and self-respect as a guiding line, not of the eye, but of the mind. Abnormalities exist among our people because of not acting according to the rules that govern their temperamental state of mind. They are unnatural and they are irregular, off guard, so to speak. Ask no questions, but think. The male is the philosopher, and the female is the receptive. The sun, man, the moon, woman, the stars, offsprings, the planets, the forces of nature, the elements, power of nature. Magic is of the mind, God or bad. I'll read that again. Magic is of the mind, good or bad. Inna Jaizi, I am a God. What is God? A God is a being regarded as possessing superhuman or supernatural qualities or powers and made an object of worship or perpetuation, which is a higher intelligence to control the forces of good and evil. What is wished of, low thinking upon another soul is evil. The good is what a soul does that benefits another soul. Person to person is of the body. Soul to soul is of the spiritual being that evolves the body. Year 2000 will prove this point of view because of the heavenly body's actions. Powers of the mind is required to take the action in behalf of our people, young and old. Reread the book of the children. The mirror is worth noticing. Your chief is a natural-born leader, the prophet's outstanding disciple, student, and I have friends and enemies as well out of their jealousy. What was a man created for? Answer: God is a hidden treasure, and man was created to find him. Was man created to be God? We are, as of the present, living an imitation of life. Then what is life? If you want to get into the social world, all you have to do is have something to offer the people you come in contact with. Offer them history of their achievements, and you must be different in your actions around them. Won't be long. Islamic science. In Fahamism, we have with us what is known as Islamic science. Now, Islamic science is of a mild nature, which means the followers of Islamic science expresses kindness and calmness. There is where they are moderate in effect or in degree of measuring out their calm thoughts, where they will be effective in gaining other followers. To have a mild nature is Islamic science. Means the follower must strive to bring about a change that will make one mild. Being mild in manner is to be moderate in their degree or steps in company of others. Being moderate in nature is Islamic science. Again, means to be natural, real, which pertains to one's nature or constitution, or having an innate, inborn quality, or that is pertaining to a particular nature, or a particular nature in deriving from nature through Islamic science. We are coming within the order of nature, not by force or artificial. I'll read one more. I don't want you to go to sleep on me. The United States government is now in need of new ideas in its system. The fact is that old men have always been its operators. But the reflex of an old man now of days are being outmoded. What the system needs now is young men with new ideas, updated because of the changes universally. This calls for a new interpretation for bringing peace to all nations and races, with an understanding that the rights of all should follow their own ways of life and respect the rights of the others. Young men means, in order to let there be peace for all, is to see only the human race at large, universally. But the movement of the heavenly bodies call for a change of heart and a system of reasoning among mankind, which calls for the regulation of communities and putting their states in proper order, which causes the continuation and perfection of the leadership, spiritually and mentally, in order to come as brothers and sisters. This will give every man what is due him. Old ideas are now outdated. Then people will not revile the gods of the others. I just want to see something. Did you know? The Rasul, peace be upon him, was 63 years old when he left the physical body. You know that?
No.
Other nations, nor will they cause abuse the rulers of them. Salam, and there will be peace in all the land. I will break it off at this particular time. Maybe we can come back at another time and I can read more from the book. But until then, I will say, Salam.
Salam.